Hi, everybody. We are live today on YouTube to discuss the Michigan and Iowa Big Ten football game. Um, I'm sorry, I look a little dark. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, I need some light. Well, I have to make what we do. I'm still sitting in Oklahoma. I'm not in my studio today. So um, this weekend I'll be back home in California, and I will be able to give you better lighting. Okay. So let's talk about first. I want to talk about the video that's going around, and you can go to YouTube and slash and search Caitlin Clark pushing player, and it'll take you to the where she got an intentional foul called against her for intentionally pushing a player, which she obviously did. I mean, she intentionally. I think it was in the Purdue Lafayette game, and I think what happened there was is she just reached frustration because of the way they were guarding her, and but I it's hard when you watch the video because it goes so quick, but it looks to me like the girl gives her space. Caitlin walks up to her, bumps her in the chest, and then push her. It happened so quick. What do you guys think about that one? Um, was Caitlin Clark in her right to push her? No, she wasn't, in my opinion. Um, that's just the way it is. So she shouldn't have pushed the girl. But is she? But the question is the pressure getting to be too much for her? There was a video going around her in the locker room where it sounds like she blames herself for defeats and when things don't go well on the court because she feels like I think there's a lot of pressure on her and she's crying and it looks real. You could probably search that on YouTube and find it too. I saw it. I don't have any way of guys. I don't not savvy enough to um, on the computer and stuff to show you that those videos are. Otherwise, I would. Okay. You will notice that there's no Jason today, no Paul. That's because we either usually do this on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, which both I'm not available. I'm spending my final moments with the family tonight. They're at school and work right now, and but they'll be over here, you know, after 4 o'clock. And so I don't want to take away from my final night with the family because we are flying home tomorrow. So tomorrow will be an all-day travel day. So we not able to get together with Paul and Jason this week and do the previews. I'll do the preview myself. Okay. I don't want to disappoint you guys. I think I want to keep my 2 videos a week going, and so um, okay, we already know a lot about Michigan. Okay, they've been ranked number 1 or number 2 sometimes, number 3 sometimes. Wherever they've been ranked. Okay, um, around the thing. We already know that about their quarterback JJ McCarthy, who's thrown for 2,483 yards this year. I was actually surprised that wasn't more, but they are more of a running team, and so we'll look at that later. But he's thrown for 19 touchdowns and he's had only 4 interceptions this year. Okay, where compared to Deacon Hill, he has 976 yards for 48% passing percentage. Well, you guys know earlier in the first few games he was so bad he didn't even hit 40%, but he's been hitting 60% or better in his game since then, and so that brought his stats up to 48%. And he's got 5 touchdowns versus 6 interceptions. So he's got more interceptions, guys, than he does touchdowns. But Deacon is our guy right now. We have to go with him. It would be nice. Um, okay. I'm gonna come back to your guys' comments when I can. Okay, guys. Thank you for commenting. If you are, I will come back to them. And so yeah, so we know about that. And Hill and Cade McNamara together are only about 1,400 yards passing total. So you compare that to one season, of 2483, for McCarthy. Then you kind of get the idea that we're really limited in our quarterback, and we already knew that though, guys. But we're stuck with him. We're gonna have to go to battle with him. We've won I don't know how many games and only lost one without him. Because I can't remember if he came in the fourth or the fifth game of the season. Okay. Okay. We already know about their rusher quorum, but here's a stat that surprises me: only 967 yards, guys. As much as Michigan likes to run the ball, I would have sworn he would probably have been over 1,000 to finish the regular season. He does average 4.8 a carry, so he's pretty dangerous with the ball, and he has 22 touchdowns. And there's this guy named Edwards who has 354 yards for a 3.4 average carry. So the running game we know that's what they like to do. Okay. Let's compare this to our best runners. Williams has 779 yards. Okay. Lee Sean. Okay. When you look at that, he's only a little less than 200 yards behind Corum. And our second best rusher, which is Caleb Johnson, has 415 yards. So he's got more yards than their second best rusher. So it's quite interesting, in my opinion. And of course, our three-headed monster, as Caleb Johnson calls them, is Jazzy and Patterson. He has 197 yards, so he should go over 200 this week. So when you compare likenesses, is our running game a little better? No, not really, but stats don't lie there, right? Okay. Their top receiver has 648 yards. His name is Wilson. And then they have another guy, Loveland. He's a tight end for 550 yards. And another guy named Johnson, a wide receiver, for 503 yards. Okay. So their passing game is pretty solid. And their top tackler is a guy by the name of Colson. He's got 71 tackles, but if you compare that to Higgins for Iowa, he has 141 tackles. That's quite a huge difference. Okay. Their interception leader is Sanstriel. He has 5, and Castro is our leader with 3. Okay. I guess the defense for Michigan is number 2, giving up an average of 246.8 yards a game. Okay. I went looking for Iowa's. Iowa. I couldn't find the yardage we're giving up per game, but it was around what I saw earlier was like 320 something a game. I think until last game, I think we were under 300. It was like 290 something or something. Okay, so Iowa's only given up 12.2 points a game. But we're only averaging 18.8 points a game, okay? Our passing and rushing is pretty equal for Iowa. We're averaging 123.4 yards per pass in the game, and 123.9 rushing yards per game. Okay. So, but Michigan is number 4 in total defense, number 2 in scoring defense. So, well, that's their offense. I'm sorry. Their total offense, they're number 4 in total offense, number 2 in scoring offense at 37.3 points a game. And they're rushing for about 185.2 yards a game, which is number 4. So they're pretty solid there. Yeah, I'll come back and read those. You got some interesting comments there. So yeah. So I mean, our top receivers is all who's out, with 299 yards. Nico's next, 227. Anderson's next with 150 yards, and Brown, who got off to a slow start and hasn't only been effective in the last few games, is up to 142 yards. So it makes you wonder if he'd have been effective all year. and we had targeted him more from day one, how many yards he could have. And then Vines, who's hurt and not listed to play this week on the two deeps, is 134 yards. Okay. A lot of odd makers don't give Iowa. They give Iowa zero chance. There's always a chance, guys. It may not be good. It may not be good chance, but there's always a chance that Iowa could beat Michigan. Okay. Ooze 12. Bye-bye. See ya. Okay. Iowa sheer heart will pave the way to a Big Ten championship over talent this year on Iowa and Go Hawks. Ooze, again, hashtag ELOFEE. Yeah, I just heard about that yesterday on some of those signs. So seems to be a dig at Nebraska or something, I guess. I don't know. Big game is Jim is 4-3 against Iowa as a player, coach. Soon to be 4-4. KF makes a BGIJ big play, Iowa style, not style, Michigan style, and 279 average yards allowed by the Iowa defense. Thank you. I didn't have that, did I? Thank you for correcting me on that one. Okay, so I don't know. I think we always got a chance, guys, to win these games. And so, you hope that Lady Luck shines. You watch it knowing that Michigan is highly favored. I believe it's up to 22 points now. It's highly favored to win this game. The last time Michigan was highly favored to win a game against us, believe it or not, was not last year or the year before when we played them in the championship. It was 2016, and we beat them. And I don't know if our team was as good that year as it is this year, but we're so injured this year. We got so many people that. All right, now I know who Ooze is. That gave it away. Thank you. Thank you, Ooze. Yeah. So anyhow, I don't know what else we can say about the Michigan Iowa game. We're injured. We're badly injured. How many of our guys are going to play in the are going to jump ship? How many guys are going to jump ship at the end of the year? Okay. How many are going to hit the transfer portal? Right now, there's a couple people in the transfer portal that Iowa should maybe seriously look at. One of them is a tight end from Colorado. I know. We got, Lachey could still leave us. He may not come back. Excuse me. And we don't know if All's going to make it back or not next year. He hasn't even officially said if he can get healthy. And so I would go for another quality tight end out of that group. And I think somebody from Notre Dame, an offensive lineman, is hitting the transfer portal. I believe he's from Notre Dame. There's somebody that Iowa should look at because, we could always use help at tight end. Not tight end, but offensive line guys. Okay, it says you said rumor is a wide receiver out of Taft, K-State, UKB1 hit the portal, and running back well expected as well. Why? Well, I wonder what do you mean by Taft's? Wide receiver out of Taft's. I'm not sure what that means. Explain that, Ooze. Okay, so yeah. Oh, well, this is going to be a short show, obviously, because I don't have the input of Jason and Paul today. Paul and Jason add a lot more to this show than I do. I usually just act as producer. Oh, it's a small college out of Massachusetts. He's a good wide receiver. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know. I mean, where I'm at right now, there's a Taft College. Um, where I live in California, there's a Taft College. Um, but they don't play football anymore, so never mind. They used to be one of the powerhouse Taft college in football at the junior college level, and so okay. Um, so I was kind of hoping that there'd be some more comments, guys, but the whole idea of Michigan, they probably will win. Okay, they probably will win. And on our picks this week, let me get them out. What did I do with those? Okay. Picks. Here we go. So I'm going to tell you what we did with our picks this week. Because we all talked about it, okay? And so we're going to go back to our picks. Okay. Ooze, I got your text message. Okay. Let me just bear with me for a second. I got to. Okay. So here we go. There's Big 12 championship game at Oklahoma Sooners versus Texas. All three of us picked Texas, guys. All three of us picked Texas. Alrighty. Louisville and Florida. Both Jason and I took Louisville, and Paul took Florida State. Georgia versus Bama. Jason and I took Bama, I think. Nope, I'm sorry. Georgia. All three of us took Georgia. I'm sorry. I read that wrong, okay? Oregon versus Washington. Jason takes Oregon. Paul takes Oregon. I took Washington. Okay. Now for the Mountain West. This is kind of an unusual one. UNLV versus Boise State. Boise State won in a tiebreaker. And so, but anyhow, Paul and Jason both took UNLV. I took Boise State. Okay, SMU versus Tulane. Okay, Jason and Paul took Tulane. I took SMU. Toledo versus Miami of Ohio. No, Toledo. I'm sorry. Toledo and all right, he took Miami of Ohio. I took Toledo. I have to go back and see what Paul took. Toledo. Okay. And finally, Liberty versus New Mexico State. We all took Liberty. Okay, so it kind of gives you an idea. Some of those, we're not as familiar with some of those schools, that aren't. Make your University of Michigan regret going at him Saturday night. The big name Jim is going to want to test our defensive studs. I was kind of reading a thing from Chad Lysical this morning, and he said that I think it's the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. Yeah, defensive coordinator says they expect a lot of run and controlling the line from Iowa, so they would be ready for that, the plan that they have. So basically, their plan is to stop Iowa's run, which they're pretty good at. So my theory is I hope Deacon's very accurate, and the wide receivers and tight ends don't drop the ball, because if we have any chance in this game, we're going to have the passing game working. working very well, and that should open up later on. It should open up the running lanes and stuff for um, Iowa. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who's on here. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Like the content, this thing. I see one of you liked it. And then share it with your friends, okay? And so, yeah. Oh gosh, it's dark in here. I can't really. There we go. Maybe that'll help a little bit and kind of get the light off of here. See if I can do. Ooh, if I do that the rest of the way, you guys can see me better. Okay. What do you guys think about? Let's comment on the women's big win against Kansas State the other night. They revenged the loss. They built a substantial double-digit lead in the third quarter and probably held it for a good portion of the fourth quarter. And then Kansas State just chipped away at it and eventually took the lead late in the game. But Iowa managed to get the lead back. And I think they won 77-70, get the lead back and barely hung on, guys. Barely hung on. Caitlin Clark missed 3 of 4 free throws at that point. And I think she just said that she was just gassed at her. She just didn't have any legs in her. That's why she shortchanged those. And but she came through when she needed to. She hit some threes, hit some nice assists there at the end, a couple of good assists. So found some good people. And but yeah, that Kansas State team, they're going to be trouble this year, guys. They're going to be trouble for everybody. They're tall, they're athletic. They just keep coming at you, and they will never be out of a game against. I don't care who they play. They're going to be tough for anybody to beat this year. And so I don't even know what they're ranked, but by now they should have been ranked. Okay. And then the men. We got the men. They pull out the win the other night, and they looked decent. They lost to Oklahoma and then turn around and beat Seton Hall. And so they looked pretty solid against Seton Hall. And I thought for some of the mistakes that they made in the Oklahoma game, they corrected in the Seton Hall game. But this is where I said, guys, in my little post on Facebook that it's going to be an up and down year for basketball. It's going to be hit and miss. We're going to have good nights. We're going to have bad nights because we've got a lot of young talent in there. And I think, honestly, guys, by the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if the young talent is playing more than our current starters. There is so much hype there with the freshman class, I think. And then the Cricky, the transfer, there's just so much hype there. Okay, he says, yeah, once they make PMAC the sixth man, the team will take off. Yeah, I think, bring in Freeman as a starter. That guy oh my God, he's going to be dangerous once he gets a little more muscle, because he's pretty dangerous now. I really like this Freeman guy. I really do. Hardy's okay, or Harden, what we call him? The guy, Harden. Anyway, he's okay. He seems to know very well who to pass the ball to. He's done an excellent job of passing the ball and minimal turnovers. So we just need everybody to get more consistent. I mean, PMAC, he's inconsistent. Peyton Sanford is inconsistent. They're all inconsistent, guys. Anyhow, I think this has gone on long enough. It's hard for me to carry this show by myself without the other two guys here. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And this is your Michigan preview, and I gave you all the stats, and you decide for yourself if we can win this game and whether we win. By the way, I intentionally left the Iowa-Michigan picks off because I didn't want to have to pick Iowa because I don't like to pick against them and get it wrong. But I also didn't want to pick against them. I would have a hard time picking Michigan over Iowa. So I decided to leave them off for those reasons. That's why we're not picking. It was my decision. I chose not to decide. But however, Paul, in his notes to me, he did say that Iowa would win the game. So you got Ooze, you're at Iowa 16, University of Michigan at 9. Wow, I would love that. I would love that. Boy, but man, that would allow them to come down in 16 and 9. Michigan come back and scare us by driving for a game winning or game tying touchdown, huh? Yeah, hold them to no touchdowns. That would be cool. That would be cool if we could hold them to no touchdowns. That would be fun. I hate the fact that it's at 7 o'clock at night Central Time. I hate those late games. I mean, for me, it'll be 5 o'clock because I'll be back home in California by then. But still, guys, it's still a late game. Sometimes I kind of get tired. I'm an old man. All right, guys. So I'm going to get out of here, and I really appreciate you guys, the ones that are watching and stuff. Thank you for the comments. TD and a safety. Huh, okay. Get them on a safety. Yeah, we could live on safeties if we could keep our punter. Well, without Coop though, it's so hard to get that ball stopped at between the 5 and the goal line. Like Coop's so good at getting down there and getting that ball there. Like the one guy who, if he'd just let the ball bounce, it would have probably bounced out of bounds about the 1 or 2 yard line. Instead, he rolls on top of it and rolls it into the end zone with him, and so it happens. It happens. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Probably Sunday night. We should be able to go back on here, and by then we'll know our bowl game. We'll know who the playoff teams are, and we can talk about the championship game. And we can talk about, hopefully we're talking about a victory, and we can talk about where Iowa's bowl is and a little bit about who they'll be playing. I think a lot of it right now has us at the Citrus Bowl, which, if Penn State makes the New Year's Six, then I would say that's a good chance that we're making the Citrus Bowl. If we win the Big Ten title, then we're probably the New Year's Six, and Penn State's probably going to the Citrus Bowl. I just think it's either or. I don't think it's both, and I don't think Penn State gets left out of the New Year's Six. They could, though. They could. If it's nothing New Year's Six, then we're going back to the Outback Bowl again for the 100th time. That bowl is the bowl that we've gone to many, many, many times. As a matter of fact, when I went and looked at it, that bowl was the bowl that we've been to the most. Iowa's been to the most. I think Alamo Bowl was next in line, or Rose Bowl was. I can't remember which one. In the Kirk Ferentz era, I think we've only been to the Rose Bowl twice and the Orange Bowl twice. I'll have to look that up, but I don't have that book with me today, so I'll have to look it up when I get home. See how right I am. All right, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to end the stream. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Okay. And if we lose and don't make the Citrus Bowl, the Las Vegas Bowl is 80% possibility. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Because I'll buy tickets for the Las Vegas Bowl and make one of my son-in-laws drive me to the game and buy his ticket too. That would be fun to go to Las Vegas Bowl. And I believe it would be against probably in Oregon State, somewhere in there, one of those. Or UC. I heard UCLA too, but UCLA is, they finished the season kind of on a thud, as did USC. I mean, USC has the number one quarterback, Heisman Trophy candidate, number one Heisman Trophy candidate. I think he won it last year, and they couldn't do much with that. Anyway, let's get out of here, and we'll talk to you guys later. See you on Sunday. Enjoy the game, and may we be talking about a Hawkeye victory. Bye.